Little black girl helps millionaire fix his Mustang. When he sees the ring on her finger, his life turns upside down. The merciless late afternoon sun had the asphalt on that rural road steaming like crazy as Maya Johnson walked home from school. The 10-year-old slowed way down when she spotted this shiny red Shelby GT 500 Mustang pulled over on the shoulder, hood popped wide open like it was screaming for help. Some white dude in a suit that probably cost more than every piece of furniture in her whole house was pacing circles around the car, yelling into his phone. "I don't care how much you charge for the tow. I've been stuck on this damn deserted road for 2 hours. I got a meeting with the governor in." He checked his solid gold watch. "Less than 3 hours, for God's sake." Maya thought about just keeping it moving. Aunt Renee always drilled into her head, "Don't talk to strangers, especially ones who look way out of place in their little mostly black community 2 hours from Boston." But something about the guy's desperate vibe made her stop. She shifted the weight of her beat-up backpack, full of books, and, more importantly, the small tool-kit Uncle Leon gave her. Dude was a mechanic and swore everybody should know at least the basics about engines. "Excuse me, sir," Maya called out, stepping closer carefully. "Need some help with your car?" Andrew Whitaker, CEO of Whitaker Enterprises, owner of half of Boston's commercial real estate, spun around in surprise. The annoyed look on his face flipped real quick to straight-up condescension when he saw this tiny girl with colorful braids, faded shorts, and an oversized MIT t-shirt. "That's real sweet of you, sweetheart. But this is a high-performance vehicle. I need a real mechanic." Maya just shrugged and walked right up to peek under the hood. "My uncle's got a garage, and he's been teaching me about cars since I could walk. I can at least take a look." Before Andrew could even argue, she'd already dropped her backpack and was leaning in like she owned the place. "When did the problem start?" she asked, all business. Andrew sighed, figuring he had nothing to lose. "Engine started overheating about 40 minutes ago, then it just died." "Did you smell anything sweet, like syrup?" Andrew blinked, caught off guard. "Yeah, now that you mention it." "How'd you know?" "Cooling system." Maya pointed at a little puddle under the car that Andrew hadn't even noticed. "It's leaking coolant. That's why it overheated." While she talked, Andrew kept staring at her, getting more and more curious. Something about her felt weirdly familiar, the way she scrunched her brow when she concentrated, how her sharp eyes scanned the engine like a pro. "What's your name?" he asked out of nowhere. "Maya. Maya Johnson." She stuck out her grease-stained hand. He shook it kinda awkwardly. "Andrew Whitaker. Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you too, Mr. Whitaker. I think I can fix this up temporarily." Maya unzipped her backpack and pulled out a small metal case. "Uncle Leon makes me carry an emergency kit. You never know when somebody might need help on the road." Andrew watched, straight up fascinated, as this kid worked with crazy efficiency, found the leak in the radiator hose, and slapped on some special tape. "That should hold till you get to town," she explained. "But you gotta add water to replace the lost coolant." That's when Maya reached up to brush her hair back from her face, and Andrew saw it. A ring with an emerald green stone in antique gold, held on her little finger with some thread wrapped around the base so it wouldn't slip off. Andrew's whole world just stopped. The sun hit the stone and caught this tiny crescent-shaped imperfection inside, a flaw he'd recognize anywhere. The exact ring he'd given a little girl named Maya 12 years ago at an orphanage called Little Angels, days before it mysteriously shut down. "That ring," Andrew started, voice shaking all of a sudden. "It's very unusual." Maya glanced down at her hand. "It was my mother's. I mean, my adoptive mother, Diana. She died last year." A quick shadow of sadness crossed her face. She said it was a symbol of an important promise. "May I ask where Diana got that ring?" Maya shrugged. "She never really told me exactly. Just said it belonged to someone special, and one day I'd understand what it meant." Andrew tried pulling himself together and offered to drive her home as thanks. She hesitated for a sec, but then said okay. During the 15-minute ride, Andrew asked what sounded like casual stuff. Where she went to school, how long she'd lived there, who she lived with since her adoptive mom passed. "I live with my Aunt Renee and Uncle Leon," Maya explained. "They took me in when Diana died." "Have you always lived here?" "Since I was 3. Before that," Maya paused. "Diana didn't talk about it much. I just know I was adopted from an orphanage called Little Angels. It closed soon after." Andrew almost swerved off the road. "Little Angels? You sure?" "Yeah. Why? You know it." Andrew took a deep breath. I did a long time ago. When they pulled up to a modest but nice-looking house, Andrew stopped. Maya thanked him and started to hop out, but he handed her a card first. Maya, if you ever need anything at all, please call me. She took it with a curious look and got out. Andrew watched her run to the house, that ring catching the sun again. His hands were shaking as he grabbed his phone and called his private investigator. What Maya didn't know as she waved one last time to the stranger in his fancy car was that this random meetup had just kicked off a chain of events that would blow open secrets buried for over a decade. Secrets tying together a billion-dollar empire, a mysteriously shuttered orphanage, and a black girl with an insane gift for fixing broken things. If this story of wild coincidences and hidden connections got you hooked, make sure to sign up to find out how a simple ring would become the key to unlocking a whole web of power, prejudice, and a truth that would change lives forever. Andrew spent 3 sleepless nights staring at blown-up photos of that emerald ring his investigator had snapped. The jewel he'd given little Maya at Little Angels as a promise he'd come back for her, a promise he never kept. In his office at Whitaker Enterprises, he pored over documents spread across his desk. 12 years ago his father, Howard Whitaker, had scooped up the Little Angels property dirt cheap, claiming financial irregularities. Funny enough, Andrew got named CEO right after. Mr. Whitaker, Mr. Evans from Legal is here with the Horizon Project documents. His assistant buzzed in. The Horizon Project, a luxury complex being built exactly where the orphanage used to sit. Andrew quickly shoved the reports aside before Evans walked in. The Little Angels acquisition documents are here, Evans said. Though I don't really get why we're digging up old business. Your father was real specific about keeping these on file. My father's retired in Florida, Andrew shot back dryly. And I run the company now. As he dug into the papers, Andrew found sketchy bank transfers and, worse, a list of kids who got relocated when the orphanage shut down. Maya Johnson's name was circled in red with a note, special case. Contact HW. His investigator Ramirez called with an update. I found Diana Johnson. Car accident last year. Brakes failed. Suspicious as hell. What about the adoption records? Officially missing. Maya Johnson never existed at Little Angels. Find out everything you can about her current family, Andrew ordered. Meanwhile, Maya was out in the small workshop behind her aunt and uncle's house, her happy place. Tools lined up neat on the walls, that familiar smell of oil and grease. You get that old radio working? Leon asked, stepping in. Maya grinned and held up the 1950s radio. Yup. Just had to reconnect a couple wires. Leon ruffled her braids with a proud smile. You got a real gift, girl. Never seen anybody understand machines the way you do. Uncle, you think my mom would be proud? Diana was so proud of you she could have burst. Maya twirled the ring on her finger. I met a rich guy the other day. His car broke down and I fixed it. He recognized my ring. Leon froze. What guy? Andrew Whitaker. He gave me his card. She showed it to him. Leon's face went pale. He traded a quick look with Renee, who'd just appeared in the doorway. Maya, sweetheart, Renee said, voice tight. Remember when we said we'd tell you the truth about Diana when you were older? I think that time's here. That night Maya heard the real story. How Diana, a nurse at the orphanage, had grabbed her and run when Little Angels suddenly closed. How they'd changed names, stayed on the move for years, always watching their backs. Your mother left this for you, Renee said, handing over a yellowed envelope. She made us promise to give it to you only if someone from the Whitaker family ever showed up. With shaky hands Maya opened it and started reading. My dear Maya, if you're reading this, someone has found you. There are things you need to know. At Andrew's apartment, Ramirez called again. Sir, somebody else is digging into Little Angels. Reporter named Marcus Hayes. What's he know? Quite a bit. And he's got a theory about why your father was so interested in certain kids at the orphanage, specifically ones with unusual talents. Next day a black SUV rolled up outside Maya's school. 2 guys in suits watched her walk out with her friends. That her? The girl with the emerald ring. Yeah. Mr. Whitaker Sr. wants to see her right now. What they didn't know was Leon parked across the street. He pulled out his phone and dialed the emergency number Diana had left. Marcus Hayes? It's about Little Angels, Leon said. And a girl with an emerald ring. I got the proof you're looking for. At Whitaker Enterprises, Andrew stared at his father Howard, who'd flown in from Florida unannounced. "What's this about pulling up Little Angel's documents?" Howard barked. "I thought that was closed. I found Maya Johnson, Dad. The girl with the emerald ring." Howard went pale. "So what? Just another orphan. What matters is Project Horizon. Billions are on the line. What was so special about that girl?" Howard gave a dry laugh. "You really don't get it, do you? Some kids are valuable. They've got talents that can be exploited. She fixes things," Andrew said slowly. "She can look at a broken machine and just understand it." Howard's smile turned ice cold. "Think military applications. Patents. Power. Why do you think we bought that orphanage?" What neither Whitaker knew was that Maya was already deep into Diana's letter, learning the truth about her past, her special talents, and why that emerald ring was worth way more than any gemstone. It wasn't just jewelry. It was a key to documents that could bring the whole empire crashing down. The puzzle pieces were finally clicking together. On one side, a powerful corporation ready to do anything to bury its secrets. On the other, a 10-year-old girl with an extraordinary gift and a ring worth far more than its weight in emeralds. And stuck in the middle, a man forced to choose which side of the story he wanted to stand on. The conference room on the 50th floor of Whitaker Enterprises was buzzing with nervous executives. Howard Whitaker had called an emergency meeting, his normally cool face now twisted with rage. "Where the hell is my son?" Howard demanded, slamming his fist on the massive glass table. "Andrew should have been here an hour ago." Right on cue, the double doors swung open. Andrew walked in calm as hell, with a woman in a suit nobody recognized right behind him. "Sorry I'm late, Dad," Andrew said with a coolness that made Howard's frown deepen. "This is Federal Prosecutor Claire Bennett. She's got some questions about Project Prometheus." Howard's face went pale as hell. Project Prometheus, the secret code name for the program that hunted down and used kids with special talents. A name you never, ever said out loud in public, let alone to feds. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Howard hissed. Andrew walked over to the big screen on the wall and plugged in his laptop. "Something I should have done forever ago. The real truth about Little Angels and the other 5 places you shut down over the last 15 years. The lights cut out and the screen lit up. Documents, photos, reports everywhere. Detailed files on 48 special kids identified, tested, and straight up exploited by Whitaker Enterprises. You stole confidential documents," Howard said, trying to pull himself together. "That's corporate crime. Industrial espionage. Documents proving way worse crimes," Andrew shot back. "Unauthorized experiments on minors. Faking adoption records. Bribing officials. Intimidating witnesses." Then a video started rolling. Security footage from 12 years back. A young nurse, Andrew now knew was Diana Johnson, running out in the middle of the night with a kid in her arms. Next clip, Howard telling security guards, "Find her. The girl's got serious military potential. We can't lose her." 3 Little Angels employees died in accidents. In the weeks after that, Andrew kept going, no mercy. Including Diana's brother, who started asking too many questions. "You have no idea of the implications," Howard started, but the doors flew open again. Mia Johnson walked in with Uncle Leon and a guy carrying a pro camera, Marcus Hayes from the Boston Globe. "Maya," Andrew said quietly, "you didn't have to come." "Yes, I did," she answered, with this surprising dignity for someone so young. "Diana always said one day I'd have to face the men who made us run." Howard stared at the girl, shock turning into cold calculation. "So you're the prodigious Project 17. Didn't picture you being this small. And you're the man who killed my mother," Maya said, eyes locked on him. "Her brakes didn't fail by accident, did they?" Howard smiled, getting cocky again. "Proving anything would be impossible. And you're forgetting who I am. One phone call, and all this disappears." That's when Maya unzipped her backpack and pulled out the emerald ring. With steady fingers, she twisted the stone, popping open a hidden compartment. She took out a tiny device. "Diana was smarter than you thought," she said. "This is a storage device," she hid in the ring. "It's got backup copies of all the Little Angels records, including recordings of your meetings with military doctors about using kids with enhanced cognitive abilities for strategic applications." Howard Whitaker, for the first time in his damn life, had nothing to say. "This is being broadcast live right now," Marcus Hayes explained, pointing at his camera. "To our studio and straight to social media. Over 10,000 people are already watching." Andrew stepped close to his father, voice low. It's over. The prosecutor cut me a deal. Full cooperation for immunity. As for you, we'll let a jury figure it out. Federal agents came in and cuffed Howard Whitaker. Maya walked up to the man who'd wrecked so many lives. My mother taught me broken machines can be fixed, she said calmly. But broken people need to fix themselves. I hope you get that chance in prison. Howard was let out, his whole empire crashing live for everyone to see. In the days after, Whitaker Enterprises stock tanked hard. Investigations dug up decades of shady crap, unethical experiments, illegal testing, straight-up corruption. Andrew watched it all with this messed-up mix of relief and regret. He'd lost his family, his money, but he'd finally found something worth more, his damn integrity. At the courthouse, while Howard waited for his hearing, Mia came up to Andrew on the steps outside. "What happens now?" she asked. The emerald ring sparkled on her finger, no longer hiding secrets, just showing truth. Andrew looked out at the city skyline, at all those skyscrapers built with dirty money from exploitation and pain, including the shiny Whitaker building that'd soon lose its name. "Now," he said, "we rebuild. Not just buildings, lives." What none of them saw coming was how that rebuilding would change not just their lives, but a whole community. An empire built on screwing people over was falling apart. But from the ashes, something new and real was about to rise. Something that'd change forever how the world looked at exceptional talent in the most unlikely places. 5 years later, on a sunny spring morning, Maya Johnson walked the halls of the brand-new Johnson Center for Young Inventors. A huge spot full of labs, workshops, and classrooms, built right where Little Angel's orphanage used to stand. The sensors in the East Wing are still acting up, Maya, now 15, told the engineers trailing her. Her sharp eyes spotted issues in complicated systems the same easy way she'd once spotted a radiator leak on a Mustang. In the back, Andrew Whitaker talked to investors, suit swapped for jeans and a button-down. The ex-billionaire heir had dumped his whole personal fortune into starting the Prometheus Initiative. Not some shady exploitation project anymore, but a real program finding talented kids from rough backgrounds and actually giving them a shot. "We found 23 kids with crazy talents just this quarter," Andrew explained. "Full scholarships, personal mentors. No contracts, no exploitation, no secrets." Andrew's turnaround shocked a lot of people, especially the old Whitaker execs. The guy who was supposed to inherit an empire built on using people was now spending his life fixing the damage and making real opportunities. "Maya's about to drop her third patent," Lane said. He now ran the center's engineering program. Harvard, MIT, Stanford are already fighting over who gets her. On the center's main wall hung the whole story in photos. The old orphanage, newspaper headlines about Whitaker's fall, and the one that changed everything. Whitaker Empire collapses after teenage revelations. Meanwhile, in a medium-security federal prison, Howard Whitaker stared at his cell walls. The big shot who used to control billions and play with lives now sat locked up, ditched by all his old buddies. Fortune gone, name trashed forever. He still won't join any rehab programs, a guard said. Still thinks he'll get out and rebuild it all. The arrogance that used to be his thing was now just sad. An old man holding on to power fantasies that had never happened. That night the Johnson Center had its first big graduation. 12 kids from tough backgrounds finished the 2-year program, each walking out with job offers or college scholarships. Maya, still too young to graduate but already treated like a mentor by the older ones, took the stage. "When I was 10, I fixed a stranger's car on the side of the road," she started, spinning the emerald ring on her finger. Now a symbol of change, not secrets. That one little act exposed a whole web of exploitation, but it also opened the door to something way better. Andrew watched from the back, eyes getting watery. The girl who blew up his old world had actually given him a purpose no money could ever buy. "My adoptive mom, Diana, used to say broken machines can be fixed," Maya went on, "but broken systems need a complete redesign from the ground up. That's what we're doing here, not just patching up the bad stuff, but building something totally new." Next day Maya got a surprise letter. From Victoria Whitaker, Howard's daughter, who ditched the family name after the scandal and now worked as a federal prosecutor. "We found 5 more orphanages running programs like Little Angels," the letter said. "Thanks to your testimony and the evidence you brought, we've identified and protected 37 more kids. Some have talents like yours. When you're ready, they'd love to meet you." As Maya read it out loud to Andrew, Uncle Leon, and Aunt Renee, you could feel the chapter finally closing. What started with a random roadside car fix had turned into a quiet revolution, changing not just their lives, but a whole messed up system that fed off vulnerable kids. "You know what's ironic?" Andrew said. "Howard always talked about building a legacy, and he actually did, just not the way he pictured." Maya looked out the window at the kids playing in the center's gardens, free from the manipulation that almost defined her own life. "Real power was never in buildings or bank accounts," she said. "It was in being able to actually change other people's lives." That evening, as the sun went down over the Johnson Center, they unveiled a new sign at the entrance. "Every talent deserves to flourish. Every child deserves freedom." A promise for tomorrow, built on the ashes of a past they refused to repeat. If this story of justice, resilience, and straight-up transformation hit you in the feels, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more stories about how small acts of courage can flip entire systems, and how real reparation isn't just punishing the bad guys, but building something way better in their place.